Hi. Okay. Okay, Benuma. So I need to add you on. Okay. All right. Whole life with Benuma. Okay. So hi guys. A good evening to you all. Okay. I have Benuma on. Hi.
I see you.
Okay. So we need to do a quick sound check now,
Okay.
just so I make sure I can hear you. Anyway, I have some jazz, some Charlie Parker playing in the background. So I have to just.
Grammarly can help you write quickly and confidently, so you never have to slow down at work. Stay on top of emails.
I hear it loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm just trying to set up my Charlie Parker. So just so everybody knows, Effie loves Charlie Parker. I know this about you, and so I'm just throwing this in as a little surprise. So I'm sure we have a few people joining in. So whilst they join in, we're just going to enjoy, just do a quick sound check and make sure that we can hear each other. I'm playing a song titled Donna Lee by Charlie Parker. Making me go very crazy here.
It's giving me Coltrane vibes, and I love Coltrane. It's so good.
You know what? Okay. So we're going to start in a few minutes. Just doing my setup.
I'm doing makeup.
So just so Effie, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Okay. Let me just take the volume up a bit more. Okay. Say something.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. So I can go back to Charlie Parker. So hopefully we can start in the next minute exactly, and looking forward to a very exciting session. Oh, and guess who just joined us? Andy. Andy is online, our designer. Oh yeah, man.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. I think I have to readjust my screen. Yeah. Sorry, I dropped my phone. Okay.
How? You're going where?
Okay, is this better? Okay, Effie. I think we're good to start. So, Effie, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
I'm very well. Actually, I have a cold, but I'm good.
Yeah, you told me that. Maybe you can just make yourself a cup of tea. I always do that.
Guess what? I actually did that. Oh.
Great. So, yeah. So we're looking forward to a very exciting conversation today. Let's get straight to it. So today we're going to talk about your new book, Dear Diasporan. That's actually the main reason why we're doing this. Yeah. And okay, someone says hi, pretty Effie here. We all know you're pretty. So that's the main purpose of this Instagram live discussion. So that's pretty much my introduction. So tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Effie Nkrumah, and then also you can follow up by telling us who Benuma is, because some of us know you as Benuma, some of us know you as Effie Nkrumah. Just tell us a little bit.
Okay. Oh, someone said they love my natural hair. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm feeling it as well.
Yes, they're called microtists, so it's a new enjoying it. So who is Effie? Effie is I call myself Ghanaian Australian. I'm a Ghanaian. I grew up in Australia, and I moved to Ghana in 2012. After visiting a few times, I really wanted to stay here, and just like a few of my friends, we all traveled here. Felt like, no, this is actually home, so we moved here. I've been working with a theater company for the last let's say 8 years, but I took a break to do my master's at NYU. I did MA in Arts Politics, which every time I say that, hey, who says they know me as Betsy?
Sexy grandmother. Okay, nice. That's not bad.
Yes, Kwame Glover, it is that person. Thank you so much for removing my buttons. Yes, so that's Effie. I love cooking. I love food. I love people. I love the arts, music, performance. Theater especially is my deep passion. And I love words, romance, all of that. So yes, that's Effie. Benuma is the name I use to practice as an artist. And Benuma is very deep. She's very emotional. She sees and observes a lot and has to use art as a way of making sense of those things. So I do poetry,
Great.
I do tableau vivant, which means living image. And what else I do? I don't know, other things. But it's fun. I do love romance, Andrew. Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Monica. I think I am a deep thinker. So yeah, then is the other side of Effie.
Great. So, well, that seems to be a very exciting, description of yourself. You love a lot of things. I mean, I think generally that makes you seem more of like a creative. Can we assume that you are a creative generally? Because most of the things that you've mentioned, music, arts, dancing, and all that, So, I mean, if you're writing a book that is addressing diasporans, then of course, per your introduction, you are a diasporan, right? So tell us a bit about your diasporan journey. I mean, basically life in Australia, and I'm very interested in what informed your choice. I mean, you mentioned you came to Ghana with a group of friends and you decided to stay, but just if you can tell us a little bit about life in Australia and then the transition, and anything interesting that occurred during that transition.
Okay, Australia is a very, very, very beautiful country. It's very safe. It's great. And I don't know if I had my wits about me. I don't know if I would have left if God hadn't really called me here to Ghana, because it's great. Stability for career choices, it's wonderful. But like any Western countries, it has its own challenges when you're a person of color. And at a point, I guess, traveling here on a trip with my friends and knowing all that my parents had said about Ghana when we were growing up, when I was 11, I was like, oh, Ghana is wonderful. It's not the same Ghana my parents left in the late 70s, but there's still something about it pulls you. If Ghana pulls you, you are in. That's it.
Okay.
So yes, what I realized is that when you come to Ghana from outside, you have to just make sure that you watch how things work here, because it's very different. Every country has how it actually works. And I realized over time that, oh, hang on, if there was a way to read this information simply, maybe I wouldn't have made so many little mistakes. You take a lot of things for granted coming from the diaspora. You expect things to be very similar, and it's not going to be like that. So, yeah, I hope I've answered that question.
Yeah, sure. So, great. So, tell us a bit about. Did you ever think that you were going to write a book? Did you ever think you were going to add being an author to your several passions?
I did. Interestingly, it's not something when I was little that I wanted to do, but certainly in the last few years. And I'm actually in a book called Growing Up African in Australia. It's an anthology written by, I think there's about 15 of us who grew up in Australia from different African backgrounds in different eras in Australia. And we all wrote little accounts of what it was like for us. So that was published in 2019. And I went back home to speak at the Sydney Writers Festival about that. It was great. So I've been published in that sense, in paper, on print. But
Okay.
I guess from there, my next thought was, oh, publish a book of poetry. I didn't think I would write a book about renting or about something it feels mundane. It doesn't feel artistic, but in its own way, it's very important.
Nice. So growing up in Australia, you said you wrote was it a magazine, or you said it was a book
It's a book. It's
written
an
by?
anthology. Maybe I should get it so that people can look at it.
Yeah. So how can we get that read? I mean, do we?
Growing up African in Australia.
Yeah.
You can order
Okay.
it on Amazon, but I'll find out like all the ordering information and
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, it'll be nice to read that. For me, I think it'll be a great thing to read what you put in there. I think that I'd like to put myself in your shoes back then to see what you have written there about growing up, African in Australia. So how does it feel? I mean, I know you do a lot of poetry, and you didn't really plan to become an author, but it's happened. How does it feel being in the shoes of an author? Like, does it sound as scary or does it feel as scary as it sounds?
Well, this is the great thing about 2020. You don't necessarily have to have an agent as a writer. Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah.
An agent or like a very serious editor looking through your work. You can just say, I see a gap in the market, or I see a need. I think I can answer these questions. I'm going to get on and do that. Hey, Sasu has joined. Hello. And Jane.
Hi, Sasu.
And Marge. Hello. Hey. So many of you. Okay, thanks for coming, people.
Yeah, I love the support.
Yeah. But I think that it almost doesn't feel real yet. That's the weird thing. It feels a bit scary. Like, is this really me? Did I really put this experience out there? Are you sure people will read this? So these are the questions I have going through my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and can you relate the feeling, being? We're going to get to the book soon. I mean, that's the next main discussion point. But I just want to know, can you relate your life as an artist or as a creative, because to your writing or to you being an author? Because basically, if you put out poetry or if you put out a performance, there's a lot of discussion about internet bullying and criticism lately, as compared to to those times. Now is very pronounced. Would you say that being an author or writing a book has the same feeling as putting out a performance or a poem out there, because people are reading your work and people are actually going to, learn from you or question some of your ideas? Is there a linkage, and has that helped you, or has it, I don't know what you have to say about that.
This whole time as I was writing it, so I should probably explain how I got to writing it, or you'll ask that later probably. But point is, I keep reading this quote everywhere on social media that says something like, if you're like, when you're afraid of it, like just get up and do it. And I think for a very long time, I've been sitting in some kind of comfort zone. And not kind of looking at what I've learned and figuring out how to share it to other people. And so you are afraid that people will read it and go, what's this? Or people will read it and say like, I don't agree, or hey, my experience wasn't like that. And so I definitely try to give a disclaimer that this is based on me, Effie's experience. And over 6 to 7 years, I have experienced these sorts of things. I'm just saying that, yours will be very different depending on your budget, depending on where you're coming from, who you know, where you want to live. But in general, there's still something you can pick up. So it's not gospel truth. It's my experience. So.
Yeah, but then I can promise you that your experience can actually be the gospel truth. I mean, because I think that the experience when it comes to renting, you know, even putting the whole diasporan thing aside, the experiences are very much connected.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if many people have put out such content, but for me, I think that this is very relevant because um, always when I'm with friends, I mean, we always discuss this. I mean, life as a diasporan, renting as a diasporan, you know, the budget difference, the currency conversions, and all that. So I just want to assure you that this is like gospel truth stuff, and I think that is going to be very relevant to most people who intend to break the social distancing rules to join us, you know, in Accra. So let's get to the book now. Let's get to Dear Diasporan. Is your book centered on Ghana or Accra?
It's on Accra, and I did that intentionally. I'm a
Okay.
strong believer in specificity. Now, there's something I always say that universality. Hello, Clara and Valerie and all.
Yeah,
Hi.
I see
Sorry,
Malonzi.
hi. I'm a strong
Sure.
believer in specificity, and that to me is, and I also believe on the flip side that universality becomes specific. Sorry, specificity
Okay.
becomes universal. So
Universal. Okay.
I tell my story from my point of view. There's always something that someone can read and go, I agree with that, I have felt that, or I have experienced that.
Sure.
Yes, I heard that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I mean it does make sense. Yeah, but I just want you to, I mean, to continue with your thoughts.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you repeat the
So
question? I've actually forgotten the
yeah,
question.
no. So you have actually answered my question. I mean, I was just trying to find out if whatever you've written is centered on just Accra, but you've explained that it's written from your point of view, and so you've lived in Accra basically,
Yeah, and
and
so I
so
say that it's the same in Takrady or Kumasi or Bolgata. I can't say that because
well,
I live
yeah,
there. And I don't think
okay,
that if you haven't experienced something, don't say you have. That's how I see it. So like
yeah, it's more, yeah,
Ghana, and then someone in Bogatanga is like, actually renting here is just fine. Or hey, rent
okay,
far worse. You know, everything is different. Every region, every city, every suburb has its peculiarities. You know, renting in cantonments is going to be very, very different to renting in Apapa.
right. Someone says
Those
the writer
people,
is fresh. Wow, Charlie, the writer is fresh.
I went to Accra because I've had enough experience in different parts of Accra to say,
Sure,
okay, this is it. So I did that on purpose. Yeah.
great. You know, it's just like I remember during his book launch, Sango Dele, creating futures. He said something about the fact that most people say, "Oh, Africa is this," or "Africans are like this," but most people haven't actually traveled to other African countries. You know, so it's just like a Ghanaian saying, "Oh, we Africans, we are like this and we like that." But I mean, you're just in Ghana. You don't know what Kenyans are saying. You don't know what those in Rwanda, you know, are saying. So I get your vibe, you know, with the whole point of focusing on what you have experienced.
Yeah.
And that makes it very, very legit, you know. Um, so I just want you to, in a few minutes, just tell us basically what motivated you to write this book, and also go on to tell us, give us a few highlights, you know, in the book and what you think that we should expect, you know, from this book generally.
Okay. So, Kwame Glover, yes, I know La Papa. I know. Okay. What motivated me to write the book? So, I am part of a group, a WhatsApp group, with other diasporan women, people
Okay.
like me who have moved back and lived here, people who are planning to move here, and so on. And a little while ago, someone asked a question on the chat about renting, and it was like
Okay.
everything was like quiet, because where do you even start with this subject? It's not simple when you sit down. So I was like, oh, this question. And I forgot about the question and moved on. And then the next day, someone was like, you people, this person has asked a question and only one person has answered. And the answer was like 2 lines. And I was like, okay. So I sat down in my notes on my phone, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I started writing all the little things I had learned, like when you go to a house, look for this. When you're dealing with an agent, think about this. And I kept writing and writing and writing. And I had so many points. So I sent it onto the chat and I was like, hey, it's a lot of information, but this is what I've experienced. And then someone read it and was like, yo, this is an ebook. Like, this information is gold. And I was like you. I was like, oh, that's so funny. You know, an ebook, yeah. And then as the conversation kept going, I realized that people would ask a question and I would start listing my answer. And again, point. I was like, Charlie, these girls, they're not wrong. Like, there's a lot in this subject.
Right.
So a few days later.
No, so Effie, wait. So who said that this is an ebook or this can be an ebook? Did someone actually say that?
Yes, I'm gonna give her a shout out. Her name is
okay.
Sister. We call her Sister E.
Okay.
She's a very, very cool person, and she just said
nice.
It's an ebook. And then someone else was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna start this message and use it whenever my friends ask about renting, and then tell them that I wrote it." And I was like,
Great.
So it was a few days later that God was like, "If you're sitting in this Accra, you've learned so many things. Someone has literally put an idea on your table, and you're just sitting there with something that could help so many people." Because as we know, with Year of Return, all the issues in the States and around the world, so many people from Accra, not just Ghanaians, but other diasporans from all over the world, the Caribbean, from the States, Europe, they all want to move to Ghana. And Ghana has a lot of initiatives to help people relocate. But the reality is, not everybody that will move here has saved a lot of money. Foreign dollars, not everyone has saved it. People are used to a monthly payment system. They're used to a certain kind of process of paying for utilities and so on. And so really, if you're going to move here and you're not prepared and you think, oh, I've got money in my pocket, you need to really know what you are going to be doing when you're looking for accommodation. Hello,
right.
Akofa.
Yeah. Did I just see Kabute? MC is in the house. Great.
So yes, I think that was one of the main things, was that people actually go before they get here, so their minds are prepared for the reality.
Yeah. So Effie, so if you're to give us some hashtags, for this book, let me start with one. Hashtag landlords. What are some of the hashtags we should expect to see in this book?
Hey, Kenny, so okay, I'm thinking. Okay, I'm on the spot. Oh, hi, Joanne and Kweku. Thanks for joining. Okay, hashtags, landlords, hashtag nasty landlords, hashtag great landlords, hashtag budget, hashtag budget, hashtag plan, hashtag prepare, hashtag observe.
Can I give you one? Hashtag water bill. Hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag water bill is a good one. Hashtag make sure your previous tenant pays all their bills. That's a big hashtag for a reason.
Right. We'll take that as a free apport from the book, right? Because I'm trying hard. One thing I'm trying hard to do is not to get you to say everything in the book, because I want people to buy this book. And for me, I don't see it as just a book you pick off the shelf, but I see it as a reference guide, because I have reviewed your book, and I think that it's more of a reference guide, because these are things that we easily forget.
Yes.
But there's one thing that I want to ask. Do you also have any tips on finding the appropriate place? You know, when I say appropriate place, sometimes an agent shows you something, you get in there and it's something different. Do you have any tips on that as well in your book?
Yeah, so I talk about, and that's in the, sorry, some of these hashtags are fantastic. Have you seen them, Kenny?
Sorry, not to cut you. Kabute just said something that I think happens all the time. Having a separate meter, you know, like every single time you move into a new place, apparently you're sharing a meter with someone. You know?
Old, or you like, or the person previously was on a flat rate and you are not needing a flat rate. There's also, the Emma has written, you might have to buy your own water. Oh,
Yeah.
that's definitely in the book. 2 years advance,
Yeah.
like people are not prepared for these things at all.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Well,
So we're talking about finding a place, an
yeah.
appropriate place.
So
Yeah.
I talk about, and so most of the book is pointers. I didn't want to start
Okay.
telling stories. I think I'll do that in another book because they are just too
Okay.
dramatic for this one. But I wanted people to have pointers, like you said, so that maybe when they start the search or when they're going out, they can just open up the book in their phone and actually look at all the things on the list and say, okay, I've got to check this, I've got to check that.
Someone says buy a separate meter, especially when you're fixing an AC. Okay, so Effie, you know what? I think that you've told us almost enough about this book, right? I like the comments that are coming in. I'm sure we can take a few questions. But before we do that, okay, now guys, so for those of us who are on this live stream, you can ask Effie one or two questions. Don't ask too much because if you ask too much, it means that you have to buy the book. I can already see some of you saying, "I want to buy this book." I really appreciate the comments coming in, especially about those who are giving extra tips about, fix your own meter. Someone says, "Move out for my relative." I mean, I'm seeing a lot of things, but I just want to, yeah. Whilst the questions come in, I just want to ask you one question. So now you're a published author. You're also a creative. My one question to you is, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Ooh, I have to say, I don't want to sound cliche, but it's the truth. God has given me a certain passion that I can't get away from. I can't get away from my love for Ghana. Oh, wow. I'm actually going to need to blow my nose because I'm getting
Yeah,
paranoid.
and also, yeah. So I think you can read the questions. There's a question on board. She says that I think the
Yes.
question is Nanefua is saying, how much is the book and where can I get a copy? Are we going to
Okay.
share information on that?
Yep. The book is now available on Apple Books, Kobo, hey, what's the other one? Kobo, Apple Books, Scribed. It's an ebook, people. We didn't want
Yeah,
to print copies because again, Corona shipping. Just get it
yeah.
online.
Would you want to just type? Would you want to just type in some of the e-stores?
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I'm just gonna list for you guys and then do that.
yeah. And then someone also says that how long did it take to write the book?
Okay, so the book took. Ooh, how long?
That's
It took.
is it Kwehuba? Yeah, Kwehuba. I hope I'm saying the name right. Yeah, she says that how long did it take to write the book?
Yes, Kwehuba. That's it took a couple of weeks. And honestly, that's the thing about this one. I think God was challenging me to just get it done. I wasn't gonna
Okay.
sit down and do what I normally would do and like go through plenty of processes and double check my facts and ask people. It was like, no, you've experienced enough. Sit down and write from your experience. If what you write in 10 pages or 5 pages is not enough, you can write another one. So it took
Nice.
a couple of weeks. I asked a few people to proofread it. Conrad, Yemo, and Tobiloba. Both helped me with proofreading, and I just did it and sent it straight to my manager. He got it done. So it was great.
Yeah. And then also someone says, what's your number? But then Nanefa says, I hope the number you're asking for is to buy a book. But then, so Kabute says that there are many pages to Effie and you're a blessing. But then he follows up with a question. He says, how does it feel to be a published author?
It feels good. I think when I sent the message around about today, I told everybody that I've been trying to push and challenge myself this year. And I think for a very long time, I've sat back and instead of just doing things, I have felt resentful of people who I see doing things. And it was like, again, you know, you said what motivates me. God was really like,
yeah,
you have enough in you to share. And you know that part of your purpose is to inspire people to do things. So get up and do it, you know. So it feels very good.
Right.
I'm glad I achieved it. Whether it's a perfect product, whether people will actually learn from it or not, I don't know. That's something that will be for each individual. But at least I've tried my best and I've honored God with that. So
awesome.
It feels,
yeah. You know, one thing that excites me about this session, you know, the president is speaking. The president is apparently speaking, but you have close to 30 people watching this, and I think that's quite impressive because, for me, it's just about the one person who is going to be, you know, impacted by this session, you know, and so I'm glad we didn't call it off, even though the president is or was speaking. Let's take about 2 more questions. You know, let's take 2 more questions. I'm seeing, okay, so how long did it take and publish, did it take to write and publish? I think you've spoken about that.
Yep.
So someone says that Albie says she's inspired. Adrian says that show us the cover of the book. Okay, we'll show you the cover of the book, at least. I wonder how long God was pushing and talking to this woman. Effie, you have a lot of people on your tail. Okay. So there's a question, Effie. So looking at your passion about writing, do you have any intention on writing something about the pandemic? Okay, you know what? So this question, since someone has asked, I'm going to follow up because I was going to ask you, how has the pandemic, you know, impacted you as a person and as a writer? I think someone also asked that, you know, would you want to speak to that? So let me just put that in context. He says that, do you have any intention on writing something about the pandemic and how people are coping? So let's just combine those into one question and see how you can address it.
Okay, thanks for the question. How it's impacted me as a writer, it's been good for me. Generally, when I'm writing, especially my poetry, it comes out of emotions. Again, I'm someone who either expresses through crying or writing or drawing or painting. So if I'm really down or stressed, I resort to one of these things, sometimes 2 or 3 at the same time. And so through the pandemic, what I realized is I was writing differently. So I had a little series I was working on during the lockdown when I was at home by myself. It was called These Are Not Poems. And it was just me I had gone through some of my old journals and diaries from 2015 when I moved to Ghana through to my time in New York. And, you know, I was reading through it and I was like, some of this is really emotional, but it's beautiful. You know, the kind of imagery I was using to describe how I felt. And so I was writing a lot of that kind of stuff. It wasn't necessarily poetry. It wasn't a story, but it was something that had great imagery. So I was asked to write something for Goethe Institute. They were asking artists all over the world what they were doing in the lockdown. So I did that. And generally, I feel like it's been good for creatives. Not in that they're making money for their work, because you can't go out and necessarily sell. But what it's done is has made creatives sit down and refocus. So I know creatives who are visual artists that haven't had time in the last few years to put paintbrush to canvas. I know people who haven't had time to write a song or a poem or something. And this pandemic has allowed people the room and the space to kind of go, oh, let me unpack what's happened in the last 6 months, the last 10 months.
Yeah.
In terms of writing something, I think that's a good challenge. Oh, I did start a writer's blog with Nanefwa. It's called Writers Unblock. And we were giving out weekly or monthly prompts for other writers to write something based on that. So maybe we have to go back to that.
Okay. That is with regards to, you know, the whole pandemic impact on people, right?
So that's what that was my last thing, is that I think you've thrown a challenge, and I think I might write something. I don't know if I'll publish it, but you can maybe we can talk about that.
All right. So already someone is saying that I can't wait for the next book. When is the next book coming out? You see the pressure that people give in society. They're already asking for the next book. Do you already have another title? Do you have a title in mind for your next book?
Pressure.
Okay, but then I think the same person is asking. Okay, sure.
It's also Dear Diasporan. What was it? Oh, something like Dear Diasporan, Things Not to Do. Yeah, because I think a lot of us come to Ghana and have airs about us and about like what Ghana should be like and like how people should respond to us because we're from diaspora. But it's like, chill, relax, make your head dig ground small.
So basically, Dear Diasporan.
You said?
So Dear Diasporan is actually a series.
Yeah, it's a series.
Nice, impressive. So someone actually gave a suggestion. I think it's also a question. She's asking if you're going to compile your poems into a book.
Okay, thank you for that. I think Amma asked that, yes. So I have 2 poems that hopefully will be published next year in another Australian anthology. There's an Australian writing group called Sweatshop, based in Western Sydney, which is mainly migrant community-based, non-white writers. And they've given me a great chance to publish 2 of my poems. And what's been great about that experience is that they are like forcing me to really look critically and structurally at my work. Because when I write, like I said, it's very emotional, so I just kind of go, and then people are like, oh, that's really nice, but actually structurally it might not work in terms of what poetry really is. So I'm working on that. And then from there, I would like to try and work slowly through my other poems to see which ones I can publish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So David is asking that having a passion for something is always a battle. How do you balance your passion with other life goals?
I think that's something I'm learning.
Okay.
I don't know if I balance well. When I'm passionate about something, I almost get tunnel vision. That's all I'm looking at and thinking about. Or I do the absolute opposite, which I think I'm doing at this moment, which is someone described me as an octopus. So I have like all my different hands in all these different things. So you're doing this and you're doing this. So I don't think I have a balance yet. What I do know is that I try to keep what goals I believe God has given me in mind, and focus on, okay, what I'm doing now, is this it? If it's not, move on. If it's not on that list you wrote when you believe God gave you an idea, like put it to the side. It's not important.
Yeah. Great. So the questions keep coming, but I'm going to put a border to it. So I think so far, one consistent question I've gotten is how much the book is now. Would you say that if you have a print version of the book, the prices are going to differ, as compared to the e version?
The truth is, I didn't want it to be too expensive, especially because, like you and I both said, it's a guide. It's something that I want people to just have accessible because the content is not luxury, it's necessity.
Okay.
I did price it for our Diasporan, something that was affordable for them as well.
So what is that? Let's just spell it out. What's the pricing for that? $9.99?
It's not. It's a $9.99. That US
Okay, so so $9.99.
Yes.
So $9.99, right? So let's do the conversion. Now I don't want to convert it to Ghana cedis now. Hopefully
on Google.
Yeah, we can use the Google rate. I mean, yeah, but of course, as you said, the book is available on Apple. I think that we're actually going to share a link, for all the e-stores. We're targeting Amazon soon, right? Basically, to have it published on Amazon as well for our Kindle, our Kindle e-readers. Yeah, but Effie, I want us to wrap it up now. With my final question.
Okay.
Which is, what is your greatest fear?
I should say it here.
Well, you see, the thing is that just as you said something about being specific. You said that anytime you're specific about something, it could become universal. So, well, your greatest fear is also maybe our greatest fears as well. So just, if you don't mind, just spell it and then let's let's learn from you. What is your greatest fear in life? Because most of the comments are actually, impressive. People are impressed at how you've managed to combine all these things and come up with a book, and also you're still doing much, and so I believe that these people would want to wonder, does Effie fear anything? Does she fear anyone? Someone says wall gecko. I don't know. We all fear wall geckos. I don't know.
Adrian, we'll work out the Christmas promo for you. Why?
Someone says Effie's small fear is Effie's greatest fear is small lizards. Oh my God.
Hi. I think that my greatest fear might be not like getting to heaven and learning that you've missed the point. That's it. And it's wild to think, because the other fear, and this fear is only a now fear, is whether it's a question that I think sometimes for those of us who are like independent women, we don't think about this until the time comes where it just pops in your mind. Oh my goodness, what if I can't have children? So that's a new thought process. I might have to write about that
right
one day. Those of us who are a little bit older, getting older, and looking at whether we will marry or not, and and if it happens, will we be able to have kids? That's a real one. It's a new thought for me.
That's a real one.
I'm navigating through it, but purpose.
Yeah, but I think that we've gotten. Let me have some Charlie Parker in the background. We've gotten some, like, quite a number of new titles from this conversation, and for me, I think that that's one of the biggest opportunity for any entrepreneur or any author, because the best gift you can get from society is when society actually makes recommendations or requests, from you. And so I believe that you've taken note of what everybody is saying and what everybody wants you to write on, and I also want to say a big thank you for putting yourself out here in this way, because one thing that a lot of people fail to understand is that the world yearns for authenticity, and so for you to come out here with your authentic self and your fear of a small lizard, as someone says, and to share your motivation, share your fears, to share your challenges and your goals. I think that is the greatest gift that you can ever offer. So as usual, before every interview ends, we ask for the final words. We're just about to wrap it up. What are your final thoughts? That you think that even if anyone didn't get anything from this session, you'd want everybody to ponder on.
To ponder on. Never to underestimate the power of support. That just came up now because I'm very grateful to everyone who's actually tuned in. Like, I'm very humbled. But that
Right.
also means that I have to make sure I do my best every time.
Right.
And so if you have people who support you, keep them around and keep pushing yourself to do your best. And I feel like, if you know what your best is, like, don't listen to what anyone else really thinks is your best, because that's only a small part of what you know is your best. We're all very multi-layered. Some of us have chosen to use or utilize one layer of themselves. Others choose to
Right.
say, I'm going to do it all. And I think that we really need to ask God, like, okay, right now, which of these layers do you want me to use? Which of these layers do you want me to reveal or work on? And I feel like
Sure.
that's where you find your authentic self in order to make the impact you have to. Because I don't think anyone's here just to be. I think we're all here to do something. And I'll just
Something.
share
Sure.
last thing that what I recently learned is that there's this verse we read and talk about all the time. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will
Right.
be added to you. And for a long time, I believe this was about, like, maybe going to church all the time or being active in a service at church. But recently, I feel like God flipped it for me. So He's given you a purpose and a vision. He gave it to you. So if you focus on achieving what He has given to you, your purpose and achievements will connect with someone else who's also on their knees asking for His will and purpose to be achieved in their life. And
Awesome.
what that does is help open up the kingdom to those who will never experience or learn about it. And that is seeking first the kingdom. So
Wow.
don't abandon
Wow.
what you put in your heart to
Wow.
do.
I'm definitely writing that down after this.
Yeah, so do
Yeah.
what you heart, because that's seeking first the kingdom.
Sure. Why is everyone talking about your food? Is it food blog or vlog? I mean, you have this makeshift vlog on your WhatsApp status, always worrying us. We're not going to talk about that. Today we're talking about your book. So I think that your final words really resonate, because even today, it's funny because just today, like at church, what I learned from church was that our labels, or what people label us with, does not always coincide with our mission statements. And so what you said was spot on, because what you're saying is that everybody has a label and you shouldn't let other people define who you are or what you can or cannot do. And for me, that is very profound. So once again, I'd like to say a big thank you, and everybody who joined us today. This interview is actually under the auspices of Seek International. So you guys give us a follow. Follow us. Follow Effie Nkrumah on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and just get in touch. Stay in touch to know, because as you guys have observed, Effie is loaded and she's always doing, one thing or the other. And most of these things that Effie is doing, I think, are very relevant. And so for those of us who want to purchase the book, if you follow Effie on Instagram, you're going to have all the information, the book cover, the social media links, or the e-store links. All these things will be made available, and also on Seek International, we're also going to try to, promote. Effie is actually one of our founding members, you know. So we're going to make it a point to promote this book and make sure that Effie is writing more books and also writing more poems and all that. Unfortunately, I was going to ask you to give us like a performance, like a dance performance and all. I don't know, but we didn't really plan for it, and there's no music in the background. So next time, I hope we're able to have a discussion on the creative process, you know, and also the whole psychology of a creative, because lately there's the issue of mental breakdown or burnout, and I know that you may have experienced that. Yeah, so these are conversations that we're going to have hopefully in the near future. So I wish you all the best as an author. Congratulations, and hopefully we get to experience more of the blessing that God has put upon your life. That brings us to the end of this catch-up session with Effie Nkrumah, alias Benuma. It's been awesome. I've learned so much. I'm going to save this video so we can share on our YouTube channel. And of course, you can also view it on Effie's YouTube channel for those of us who couldn't join in. So tomorrow is Monday. Everybody is preparing for a busy week ahead. I'd like to say all the best to everyone. Keep chasing your dreams, and as Effie has said, like, just don't give up and don't let anybody define you. Thank you for joining this session. Effie, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and God richly bless you. God richly bless you. Thank you so much, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thanks, Kenny.
Bye.
Bye.